It is here. It is here. Another episode of your favorite political podcast, Where the Party At. I'm your host, Saba Long.
And I'm Eldridge Washington, and this is Where the Party Is At. What's up, Saba?
What's up? Happy America 250 after the 4th.
Happy America 250. I did not celebrate this year. I was in the house resting. I left one time, though. Friend going away, moving to D.C.
Okay.
So I went to see him. What about you?
That's nice. I was very boring. I mean, I kind of hung out a little bit leading up to it because of all these soccer matches.
Yeah.
But I actually spent the actual 4th organizing my dad's very chaotic garage.
You know.
And I tried to get, unfortunately, I had to order, sorry for folks who are anti-Amazon, but I had to order some stuff on Amazon. Unfortunately, it doesn't arrive until today, and he got back today. So he's going to know that I changed some stuff in the garage.
And put it all back.
And he's going to be like, what the heck? So I don't know. We'll see. But
he's one of those organized chaos guys.
no, is no organization at all, which is why I'm organizing, because it is so doggone chaotic in there. I told him, I said, this is stressing me out. And I don't even use the stuff in the garage, right? Like the power tools, like, why do you have 3 weed whackers? Why are there literally 3 push lawnmowers? Why? So
you getting that age.
Yes, I know. I am, unfortunately. But when it's all said and done, and I've already done a fair amount, when it's all said and done, that garage is going to look really good.
Hey, I'm a big fan of a good organizer, but ain't nothing like a good
It just saves
organizer.
you time, right? He's going to come in and be like, okay, where are my flashlights? Which, by the way, and I will finish this rant, this man, so far, I have counted 8 different flashlights in the garage. Why? So I text my nieces and nephews. I said, don't buy a flashlight. Just come over here if you need one.
That is hilarious.
What in the world? So when it's all said and done, the garage will look really good. Everything will be labeled and organized, and he will probably mess it all up within a month. But I tried.
You're welcome, Dad.
That's right.
Although he's not gonna be thankful. He's
No,
gonna be
he
pissed.
probably won't. I'll just say, Mom told me to do it. That's what I'll.
That card.
That's what I'll say.
But so 250.
250.
A lot popped off.
We're not, I would say we're old, but we're not compared to so many other civilizations. We're quite a young country.
Right.
Relatively. You know what's so bizarre? If we can put this on the screen, I assumed everyone knew what the 4th of July marked, but apparently that is not the case. I don't. How do you not know?
Can I say this?
Uh-huh.
And I'm speaking for a large delegation of black. 'Cause I was just talking to somebody about this, and they were asking me because they know how I am about political affiliation. And they were like, what holidays don't you celebrate? And da-da-da-da. I said, no, I'm not like this huge 4th of July. I'm not throwing on no American flag. But like most black people, if we off work and we can put the grill on, we going to show up. And that's what most black people be doing on 4th of July. I got a day off. I can turn on some fireworks. A lot of people,
They don't know why.
I think older people, but I'm not surprised at any of these young people what they don't know. I'm not surprised. Especially when I be watching them YouTube videos when they be asking, name 3 countries in North America.
This explains so much.
Have you seen those?
Yes.
Yes. So with the younger people, I'm not surprised at anything that they don't know.
My God.
Like anybody that didn't learn cursive in school, I'm not surprised at what they don't know. Their math is too hard and complicated. They gave them this crazy new math.
Right.
I'm just, unfortunately, you think everybody should know, but I'm not surprised.
It was just like the joke that most Americans couldn't pass a citizenship test.
They couldn't.
Right. Which is, my goodness. Anyway.
Could you pass?
Yes, of course. So can we put on the screen this data from the Cato Institute that shows, man, I must be blind because I'm having a hard time reading that, but it's 50-something, thank you, 53% of
I couldn't
Americans.
read it either.
Okay.
I wasn't even gonna comment on it. I was just
I need to switch out my contacts here. 53% of Americans, so only half, at least of those surveyed, knew that the 4th of July celebrated the adoption of the Declaration of Independence, which means, it's basically 1 in 2. So the other person, a room of 2 people, the other person thinks that it's anything from the Pilgrims landing on Plymouth Rock to the founding of Jamestown to the first U.S. presidential election to, I have no freaking clue what it's about. It's just a day to sit back, eat some barbecue, watch fireworks.
Turn on the grill.
Man. Ay, Dios mío. And, and if you look at, so I'm just showing you all ages, but they actually broke it down by age brackets. To your point, 18 to 29, the number is even lower of the people who recognize that this was about the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. Good grief. By the way.
Now let's talk about it though.
Okay.
Like, if we just can have a real conversation, I think American history is so deep. American history is so colluded. American history is dark. Some of it is dark.
Some of it's dark, yes.
When you talk about American pride, it's like almost like a bad thing.
It depends on who you're talking to, but sure.
When you hear people say, I'm proud to be an American, American proud, it's typically associated with a white male. A white male, yes. Which is probably a white supremacist or someone that's heavy on that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when you look at, we're here in Atlanta. I'm watching all these Atlanta people. They just switching out African jerseys.
Oh, yeah, that was me. Yes.
Like, they not even going for if America's on, yeah. I'm rooting for America.
Sure.
But for the most part, I'm with Haiti today.
Yeah.
I'm with Congo
Senegal.
today.
Yeah.
I'm with Senegal.
Ghana. Yeah.
So, that's a conversation America got to have. Like, why is it hard to be so proud of this country?
If you're not white.
If you're not white.
That's the distinction.
So
yes.
America's 250 years old.
Yeah.
176 of those years, was spent in slavery. Mm-hmm. Whatever, how you want to put the math together. So, when you start thinking about this day of like people taking pride of like, we showing up we're Americans. Right. I just think America still has some rectifying to do.
Yeah, for sure it does. But I also think, and I know that there is a movement, Policy Link, which is a national Black-oriented policy institution, has done a lot of work around reclaiming what it means to be American and reclaiming the American dream, like the concept of the American dream. And their focus is on, pluralism and not the America being white America versus Black America, which is often what we see in political discourse.
Right.
But it's how can we imagine a constitution, an American government that works for all? And there's a lot of, interesting nuance and political framing around that. But I would love, and I don't know what they did for the 4th around the semi-quincentennial, but it'd be interesting to go back and look to see how they've talked about it. Right. Because that framing and that conversation is one where you would be proud to wear the American jersey. You'd be proud to support the American team regardless.
It is, but it's just a lot of work to get. So
I hear you.
So I would love to see the demographics of these ages. When we start talking about these ages, I would like to see, was it African American? Was it white?
Right,
no.
Right.
That's what I want to dive more into it.
Yeah. And I think there's also, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, the Harvard Youth Poll, right? And how there's this gap between how, like, where the under 30 demographic feels about the country compared to older, right? And so you have, I was just messaging with a new 22-year-old, like their birthday was last week,
right?
And we were talking about the photo. I don't know if you saw it of the Black woman on the metro in D.C.
on the bus,
with all the Patriot Front people, all the Patriot Front guys surrounding her, right, on the train or a bus, wherever it was. And this 22-year-old said, the gist was, this is, yet again, another black woman, another black person, particularly another black woman, is having to bear witness to all of the challenges of this country with respect to race and how black people are treated.
Right.
Right. And we had this text debate about, is it performative? Like, should that woman be compensated for that photo? Why does that photo have to be taken? And is she being used, by the media in that photo being publicized? And I said, my reply back was, if you look at history, look at the civil rights movement, there were a number of iconic photos that changed history because the camera captured what was happening, and it was too hard to turn a blind eye to it.
Yep.
Right? I mean, words are powerful, yes, but photography and imagery
There's always there's some photos
can do what words can't do.
Any of the photos of D-Day,
Sure,
with the water hose and the dolls attacking us. I mean, and there's some that's not even violent photos, but it just speaks to it with the young man drinking out the white only water fountain.
Right.
Iconic photo.
Yes.
These photos tell a story of the times.
Right. Right.
So is this the same group? Speaking of that group, I don't know if
Patriot
we're going
Front.
there. Patriot. Is this the same group connected to the Charleston 9?
From the bombing, or not the shooting?
Yeah, from the
I
shooting.
don't think so. I'm not sure.
Because you remember
actually.
it was a group that was
Yes,
masked walking
right.
through town then. So I didn't know if it was the same.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but I was. I'm not going to say who it was, but I had a text exchange with a black Republican who we were talking about, again, this iconic photo.
Right.
And the person replies back, well, how do we know that they were a white supremacist group? That's just what the media said. And, I'm
so
like.
I'm going to tell you, the first sign of any white supremacist group is going to be a mask.
Thank you.
Historically proven, they always wear masks. Because, one, they know they're on the wrong side of history.
Right.
They know they can't proudly stand on this and still operate
Publicly,
in society
yes. Right.
that they live in, whether it's their job, their affiliations. When you see a mask, it is a white supremacist group. And when we speak on that all the time whenever we're doing protests, if you see someone in a mask, take it off. That is protocol. If they don't take it off, kick them out. Mm-hmm. If you can't stand here on business, on what we doing,
who you are,
we don't even want you here. Because 9 times out of 10, the people that are throwing the flames or the fireballs inside of protests are mass agitators. So whenever you see the mask, it's the first sign that you're doing something wrong.
Right.
So let's start there. We ain't even talking about the flags they're flying but even that, because
with the flag upside down.
See what I'm saying? Even the American flag it's almost like, depending on who you are. If you black and you white, you look at the flag different.
Right.
It's almost like police. Mm-hmm. If you're a white person, you look at the police completely different than if you're a black person. So I think that's what it goes to, getting into the pride of yo, I'm an American, I want to do that. There's so much conflict. That's why we even had the Colin Kaepernick protests. Mm-hmm. We couldn't even have that protest if there wasn't a conflict in our national anthem.
Right.
So there's so much conflict that we have. Yes, I want to be here. Yes, I am an American. Yes, I was born here. But the establishment, the actual system, the actual government, there's so many things that are working against me every day. It's hard to stand strong and say, yo, I'm an American. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, long rant.
No, it's good.
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand why. And again, I don't celebrate 4th of July like that, but I don't celebrate.
You celebrate Juneteenth?
Yeah, heavily. I celebrate any holiday, especially if it was American created, right? Juneteenth, Kwanzaa. These are because we were separated from our culture so much, we had to recreate culture.
Mm-hmm. So you mean holidays within the African American tradition?
Yeah. But then, because culture is the root of all of this.
Right.
That's why if you're a Mexican and here in Cinco de Mayo come up, you are turned because you understand what it means. Even if they have their Day of the Dead, right? Mm-hmm. you understand what it means. The culture is connected to it. We're so disconnected from our culture,
Right.
African culture.
Yes.
So whenever
ancestral culture.
yeah.
Yes.
So whenever you have a new institution that was built in America, I feel like you got to support it. So
Right.
heavy on Juneteenth, heavy on Kwanzaa, heavy on Black History Month. You know, all the things that we got here.
Right.
You got to be heavy on.
Yeah. This also reminds me, and this was incredibly controversial at the time, although it shouldn't have been, when Michelle Obama said, "I'm finally proud to be an American," after Barack Obama was elected. Right. And there was this uproar within conservative circles of like, how dare you say that?
Exactly.
But there's a disconnect between her lived experience and their lived experience.
And I don't even think it's a disconnect. I think there's a
Or willful ignorance.
Yeah, willful ignorance. Like, it ain't the same.
Right.
And you just choose to
let's just
turn
swap.
a blind exactly. Choose to turn a blind eye to
Right.
it. Because whenever you get treated like black folk get treated, it is like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
unhand me.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, that's also why we're seeing the type of reaction around voting rights, right?
Exactly.
Because there's this very real concern about being in the minority.
And there's what happens when you're in a minority. And again, going back to all of my young under 30 people that don't know what 4th of July is for. The reason why it is such a pushback on you being able to vote, if you can vote in your leadership. Your leadership can make their policy. Their policies can change your life. It is connected.
Yes.
It is connected. Everything that you have been going through, all the stuff, most of it, when you start talking about judges and all of these cases where police officers are getting complete.
We're going to talk about some laws that were just enacted.
We can get
that
to it.
That are directly help you understand how who you vote for impacts your everyday life.
Perfect segue. Let's
Perfect
go to it.
segue. So July 1 is the start of the fiscal year, not only for the state of Atlanta, but also the state of Georgia and a lot
And the
of
county.
municipalities. Yes, a lot of government, their new year goes into effect July 1. Although there are some where it's October, which is a little bit different. But, the state legislature was in session earlier this year, and more than 100 new laws went into effect July 1. So obviously the state's budget, as I mentioned, went into effect, which, by the way, is just under $39 billion.
38.5.
Yes, very big budget. So I'm going to run down some of these laws, and you will see how it literally affects everyone, even if you're not old enough to vote. So kids, K through 8 students will now face what's called a bell-to-bell ban on cell phones, smartwatches, and personal devices. So when school's in session, no devices.
Yeesh.
And next year, that will also go into effect for high schoolers. And this is driven in part by a national conversation, which is also led by a journalist named Jonathan Haidt, who wrote a book about how today's youth, and honestly, it's not just youth, it's us too, are distracted by devices.
Yeah, completely.
Right? I think about, like, me personally, it's like even when I've been watching the World Cup, right? If I'm watching it at home, I'm also on my iPad, like, doing something else, right?
I can
admit
connect
it.
it to productivity, but I have a problem.
Yeah, right. Yeah. College students, this is a very big one, and for parents, pay attention
So
to this.
I just want to say that high schoolers who are about to be 18 and all of this
Right,
stuff,
this might be your first election coming up.
you're not going to have your phones. I just want to let y'all know that. And somebody that you didn't vote against, pass that for you.
Right. So for college students, Senate Bill 556, it's called the Dreams. This is a Dreams Scholarship. So this was a new scholarship created. This is one of the rare W's of the state assembly. This bill created a $325 million bucket of seed money for need-based college aid. Right, so we have the Hope Scholarship,
Yeah, I'm about to say.
but that's not needs-based. That's based on your
academics.
Yes,
and
it's based
all
on
of that.
academic achievement. So Georgia, previously before this, was one of only 2 states without need-based scholarship, and we are now finally making this happen. So very big deal.
That's dope. So
yeah.
can you get both?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
Right. If you are a mother, there's two interesting bills that passed that go into effect now. One, a sensitive one, but important. House Bill 350, also called the Eliza Jane Warner Act. It allows hospitals and fire stations across the state to install what's called a newborn safety device, which is basically you would put, if you were a mother giving your child up and you did not, you went to term, but you don't want the child, you can go to a fire station or hospital, put the child in one of these devices, and then after a certain period of time, assuming you would have walked away, an alarm will go off to let them know a child has been dropped off in this device, and they will go retrieve the child. And what makes this important is that it provides anonymity to the mother. Because before, you could go to a fire station or hospital, but you had to actually
hand it to them,
hand the child over.
Gotta talk.
Hand the baby over. Right, exactly. And
or
so
if you left it, you could risk the baby being harmed.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So this is a secure device.
What do you feel about this?
I'm for it. Like that's very sensitive. I can appreciate a mother wanting to make sure that her child has a better life and wanting to make sure that child is safe, right? And this provides that opportunity. So I think this is good. All things considered.
I'm actually interested to see the data around the use of these. Mm-hmm. How much they're going to be used, how heavy are they going to be promoted?
I think that's the big question. Is it being promoted?
Because
right?
it's even saying, it says across the state, it allows them to install it. So that means
they have to actually install it. Right. Yeah. They have to purchase the device and install it.
So where does the money come from? Who's the money?
Yeah. I imagine the money would come from, the county budget for a fire station or a city budget rather, and then the hospital budget. And maybe there are some incentives for them to actually purchase and install these devices.
Right.
But I think, if you are a mother, again, who has brought a child to term and you have probably wrestled with this for the entirety of the pregnancy.
Right. And we don't even know the origin story of your pregnancy.
Right.
So
which is another
all
key
these
part.
laws against abortions and everything.
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah.
Now how private it's going to be in Atlanta, we don't know. You're going to get it.
There's cameras everywhere.
I'm about to say you got a flock camera.
There are cameras everywhere. But I mean, ideally, if a mother does this, then at that point, the state, so to speak, will let her be. Because she's done the right thing at that point.
I love it. I mean, I'm for it. Yeah. I definitely want to see, the process of getting them installed. So,
right.
I'm going to talk to my councilman and see what we can do in my district.
I love that. Yeah, I would like to see that. Another one that impacts mothers is House Bill 352, which went into effect, and it requires improvements to insurance coverage for mothers with gestational diabetes during pregnancy. So this is one of those, unfortunately, our insurance system can be such a racket, and you have families who go into debt just to give birth.
Yeah.
Right? And gestational diabetes is one of those things that happens to women of no fault of their own.
I literally just learned this, that women become diabetic during I promise you I just learned it this year because a friend
is going through it.
She said, I said, you a diabetic?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, because I'm pregnant. I did not know that.
Right.
God dang.
Yeah. So
women.
I know the things we deal with. Another key law that goes into effect, and again, this is a good one. Senate Bill 6 legalizes fentanyl test strips. And why that's good is because it allows someone who is using drugs to actually test the drug for fentanyl before they take it, right? And the idea there is to prevent overdosing and deaths because a drug is laced with fentanyl. And then for folks who need medical cannabis, Senate Bill 220 removed the 5% THC cap, and it allowed for medical cannabis through the form of gummies, a vape flower, or edibles. So medical cannabis is often used for folks who have chronic pain, for folks who might have even like Alzheimer's,
Mm-hmm.
all types of things. Cancer, medical cannabis is used. And some other laws I originally
Also,
named.
I just want to say a quick
Yeah.
thing on the legalizing fentanyl test strips, because
Mm-hmm.
it's no longer just a fentanyl thing. Like you said, it's being laced in your
Yeah.
pills.
Right, it's
in
in
your
a lot of
weed,
stuff.
It's in everything. So playersafeatlanta.com. You can get free Narcan all over the
Nice.
city.
Yeah, that's great.
Playersafeatlanta.com.
That's great. Some other laws. So these are ones that I would say like the average person. Some of them are ones like the average person would be like, oh, I didn't even. Why is that a law? Or oh, this actually impacts me, right? So, House Bill 331. If you were someone who goes around town selling, a dog or a cat at a parking lot, the gas station, the grocery store, you can no longer do that now.
Wow.
So I believe part of it is you don't know. There's no regulation around it, right? So if I'm just randomly selling, my dog got pregnant and I'm selling the litter, the buyer has no idea if that pet has any issues, right? There's no disclosure requirement. So the idea is to protect the buyer from and I don't know if the dog was stolen.
So where you supposed to sell it at?
You're not.
Good
That's
luck.
the whole point.
Good
is to
luck with this
stop.
in the country. Now in Atlanta, y'all might be okay, but we can pull up in Monroe right now, and it's a dog being sold in Walmart parking lot.
I know, I get it, but I think the other reason why they're stopping this is the proliferation of particularly pit bulls in shelters, because someone gets the dog, decides they no longer want the dog, and then the shelter oftentimes ends up putting the dog down because there aren't enough people willing to adopt the dog.
So what do you do with the litter if your dog get pregnant?
You fix the dog, I guess, first of all. But more often than not, these are intentional. It's not, oh, my dog was just hoeing around. It was, I intentionally did this so I could make some money.
The culture of pet ownership in the city and the country is two different things.
I understand that, and that's why I brought this up, because I knew this would be one that people would feel some kind of way about.
Because people really think I'm not an animal person. Like my friends think I hate animals and I don't like dogs. I don't like dogs the way you have to have dogs now. Growing up, I had dogs all the time.
Yeah, dogs are practically humans now.
Yes, when I be here, I was just talking to you. You had to go take your dog to the doctor and get medication.
I sure did.
Never. In the country.
I had to go to Walgreens.
In the country, we ain't never did that.
Yes. And they're like, is this medication for the dog? And it's like, yes, it's for the dog. Here's the vet script.
That is crazy.
I know. I know.
Because I'm about to say, in the country, it ain't that we're trying to breed. It's just we're not taking our dogs to get fixed. You know how much that costs?
Yeah.
Like, our dog is just our dog.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, now the dog is fixed. The dog is chipped. The dog has vitamins,
That's crazy.
The dog gets exercise.
These bills, is it one of those situations where, the police now just downloaded all these new laws and they learned them, now we're about to start enforcing them? Is it, these paper bills, they not really enforced, we just pass something?
Yeah. This, the pet one in particular, I don't know, right? Like, I don't know to what degree there will be, private discretion in, like, for example, in a Monroe versus in Atlanta. Right?
But
like,
we keep going. I just don't, we got a lot, but.
Again, that's why I put this one in, because I knew, I was like, this one's going to hit with some folks. Okay, another one that's interesting. I originally was going to call these the black laws. I was like, people are going to feel some kind of way about this. House Bill 117. This isn't a black law, but it's just kind of funny. Requires restaurants to disclose whether the shrimp on the menu is imported. Now, currently right now, they have to disclose whether it's wild caught or domestic. But instead, they have to disclose whether it's imported. So is this Georgia shrimp or is this shrimp from somewhere else?
So That's on the menus. That's
Well, as effective July 1, it has to be on the menu now. So next time you're out to eat, check it out. Another one, I kind of chuckled at this, although it's not funny.
I agree with this one.
Senate Bill 547 changes pimping from a misdemeanor to a felony. I agree with it too.
I agree with it too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize pimping was only a misdemeanor.
Right. Yes, but the part of the challenge has been the
girl.
The girl is always the one who bears the brunt of the law.
She gets locked up, and
Right.
then she doesn't
Right.
press charges or anything, or corroborate.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm surprised that this is a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
I definitely thought pimping was a felony already.
Yeah. Now it really ain't easy.
I would like to know who sponsored this bill, but keep going.
Okay. Another one, House Bill 447 creates new felony offenses for folks who steal, forge, or fraudulently use gift cards.
That's the YN bill.
Yeah.
That's the YN. Man, I don't.
This has actually happened to me before, where I was working on a project and someone basically forged or some kind of way got access to gift cards that we were giving to people.
Yeah, so I don't even know how they do it. Like,
I don't know.
Gift cards, money orders,
Yeah.
like prepaid cards. Yeah. People don't even want to take them because they don't figure out so many ways to scam. I don't know.
Yes, it could be considered a YN bill, but also a lot of this is online hackers.
Yeah.
So I think this gives state attorneys general, and district attorneys a little bit more teeth to go after folks who do this, because a lot of this is online.
Well, am I scamming? All right.
and then the last big bill, and again, there are way more, but these are just a few that we're highlighting. House Bill 295. This one's interesting because of the local and metro implications. Property owners can now sue local governments if they think that their property values were hurt by a city's failure to enforce laws with respect to homelessness, immigration, and public safety. And you best believe that someone is going to use this law, and I would guess that it will happen before the end of this year.
It's probably going to happen tomorrow. I was talking to somebody maybe 3 days ago, business downtown, and they're like, look, I get it. I care about the homelessness, but right now they using the bathroom in front of my store. Mm-hmm. They are, how do we get protected?
Right.
So I definitely see the city of Atlanta, when you start talking about downtown, Edgewood, think about all the areas, you definitely about to see this popping up. Unfortunately, I think it's going to not necessarily create more solutions for our unsheltered community. I just think it's going to create more aggressive behavior towards them, unfortunately. But you definitely going to see people leveraging this bill.
Right.
This was for the small business owners in Atlanta.
I guess. The Georgia Municipal Association, which represents cities, was against the bill. And again, that's considered very much a nonpartisan or bipartisan organization. So this is going to be one to watch. And I think it will end up being big news when the first case happens.
I'm telling you, it's gonna come, like you said, before the end of the year. We're gonna be reporting on it here. I promise you.
Yeah, and if I were a Republican, I would use this as a wedge issue during the November election, right? So I would line up cases in key, like I would line up a case in Atlanta, I would line up a case in Augusta and Savannah, et cetera, as a way to show Democrats are soft on these issues. I hope don't listen to that, but I mean, put in my political hat on.
If I were you, what I would do.
It's going to be a problem.
But it's going to have to force solutions. We gotta address this in a more logical way.
Right. But part of it is also the state doing their part, right?
State and county.
Yes, state and county. I
Yeah.
mean, we know
But
we know that Fulton County has not lived up to its end of the bargain with respect to this challenge.
But it also goes to the city officials calling it out.
And they have.
Quit taking.
Yeah, they have. Now, you could argue that they need to be more forceful and public about it for sure.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yes.
because get it off of you.
Right.
Get it off of you.
Yeah.
Say, look, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
To their point, I can say you have seen multiple things that the city are doing, whether you agree
Right.
with them or not, to address homelessness.
Right.
Whether it's rapid housing, PAD.
Yes.
You know, what's the organization who I don't care for? That
Oh,
organization.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So like, you know,
I'm not going to say the name of it.
there are things happening. So you can say, yes, they're trying,
Yes.
but you got to be public and say, we need help.
Yeah.
Fulton County.
And that's where, you know, we've talked about this in our text messages a lot, right? The difference in approach between like a Kasim Reed versus an Andre Dickens.
Right.
Like a Kasim would publicly say, hey, here's who's dropping the ball and here's how it's impacting us. Like he would be very public about that.
And Andre will draw a circle.
Right. He'd be like, all right, let's like, you know, he would privately, I'm sure he's privately had these conversations, right? And that's why I think he endorsed Mo for Fulton chair, right? I think that's his way of addressing the issue rather than it being, you know, a public conversation.
I'm just interested to see because I definitely believe you're gonna begin to see that law put in place.
Right.
ASAP.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of law, a new topic: the Supreme Court just finished up their session, and there were three big rulings that I want to highlight because they're Georgia implications, and I think these are, you know, folks should pay attention to this. So, the first one I want to highlight is about campaign finance. And this one is already impacting the 2026 election cycle here. So this ruling allows political parties to spend unlimited amounts in coordination, and that's the key word, in coordination with candidates. And this is particularly around federal elections. So it struck down federal campaign finance limits with respect to the parties. So if you think about the Senate race and the congressional races,
Right.
that's where this plays in.
So it's like now they can spend as much as they want to spend
In a coordinated manner.
So it's like you're not putting it in their account, but
Right.
you can buy what they want you to buy.
Right. So, I mean, a party can spend today, or before this happened, the party could spend unlimited amounts of money independently, right? But now this allows you to do both. You can spend unlimited amounts independently, and you can spend unlimited amounts in a coordinated fashion. So just to give you a bit of context, and we've talked about the leadership committees on the show, and, you know, at the state level, the governor having a leadership committee, the lieutenant governor, et cetera, having a leadership committee. So Georgia has already had this at the statewide level. We've already had kind of a post-limit world. This changes the game again for federal candidates in Georgia. So Mike Collins, for example, would be able to coordinate in an unlimited fashion with the National Republican Senatorial Committee.
Right.
Before he couldn't do that.
Right. No, I get it. And like I said, that race is already going to be a tight race.
It is, yeah.
So.
And it is expected to be the most, if not one of the top 3 most expensive Senate races in the entire country. Yeah. In the entire country. So, you know, there's a question about who does this ruling benefit? And that, I think that will ebb and flow. But today, and this, by the way, this lawsuit was brought by Republican Party.
So they won.
They won.
Yeah.
And why this ruling benefits Republicans today is that the GOP committees, the Republican committees for Senate and for Congress and for, you know, the national party itself, they have way more cash on hand today than the Democrats do.
I can see that.
And in fact, the Democratic National Committee is technically in debt by, I think it's about $18 million.
Oh my God.
Somewhere in there.
Help.
It's certainly double digit.
Dang.
So it just gives, again, the Republican Party more money to play with.
Today it helps them.
Today it helps them.
You know, tomorrow.
But also, why is the party in debt? You are the minority party right now, right? In the sense that the opposition is in office, which means you should be raising an insane amount of money. What are you doing?
You know, yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Don't get me started on it.
Okay, another one.
I'm still trying to figure out what we're doing on the state level.
I know.
Where you at, Bailey?
We need an extend invitation to bring him on the show.
I can't wait till I finally meet this man.
Yeah.
I've been talking about this man
I know.
for months.
You're like, all right, I'm here. Okay, another one, with respect to mail-in ballots. So again, this was a Republican lawsuit. The Republican National Committee challenged Mississippi, which had a grace period for mailing ballots back. As long as it was postmarked by election day and received up to 5 days later, the vote counted. So the court, was a very close decision, by 5-4 decision, upheld the grace period. So this was a loss for Republicans, a loss for Trump, who, by the way, has said that he wants to end mail-in voting with rare exceptions. By the way, the president, when he last voted by mail. So, Justice Amy Coney Barrett.
He's the exception.
Yes, of course. Justice Amy Coney Barrett wrote the majority, and she said that federal law requires the choice to be made on election day, not that the ballot has to be received by then. So this one is interesting, and again, this shows where Georgia is already on the conservative side, right? Just like the one about campaign finance does. Georgia is not a grace period. So absentee ballots must be received by 7 p.m. on election day. If I'm not mistaken, the only exception would be UACAVA, which is overseas ballots for military and for people who live overseas. So this doesn't change anything for the state of Georgia. It's just we're already on the stricter end of this stuff.
Right.
The last one I want to highlight, and there were, again, other decisions, but these are three that I think are relevant to Georgia because it either shows where we are already to the right, or it will show up in the 2026 election cycle, and it already has, particularly this next one. The Supreme Court upheld the state's bans on trans girls and women's school sports. So this was law out of Virginia, or West Virginia, rather. So it reinstates laws that were in West Virginia and Idaho, and it shores up, again, law that we already have on the books here in Georgia. So about 24 states have already passed laws banning transgender athletes in girl and women's sports. So this was interesting because it was 6-3, which sounded big, right? But there were some distinctions. And so one of the distinctions is around Title IX. Another distinction was around, like Kavanaugh, for example, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who is by no means considered a liberal judge. He went out of his way in his writing to say that trans athletes deserve respect and that they shouldn't be ostracized or vilified. And I found that interesting because if you look at the Republican discourse of the day, including with Mike Collins, including with Rick Jackson, and I think this might even be in the video that we're going to play soon, they are both hitting John Ossoff and Keisha Lance Bottoms on this particular issue, and saying that they are for transgender athletes in school sports. So that's an interesting one because you will see ads about this in the election cycle.
Yeah, so that's why NAACP came out and said they stand. I don't know if you've seen that post. So they put out a post and they said they stand with trans athletes. And I didn't know why the post came out of nowhere. So I know it's because of this.
Back up, Keisha.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
And we're back.
So speaking of Rick Jackson and Keisha Lance Bottoms, so just a quick little gubernatorial update for you all. Rick Jackson put up a 2-minute and 19-second video / ad.
And he put it up the day we said we haven't seen a Rick
Yeah,
Jackson
yeah.
ad.
I guess
He put it up
he's
that
like,
same day.
I got you. I don't know. My assumption, because this is obviously very long for TV, too long for TV, unless he's just doing a mega buy. But my guess is that he's putting this up on YouTube,
Yeah,
on
he running
Hulu,
ads.
you know, like all those types of places to watch. If we can pull it up for the audience here.
He's going digital.
Yes, he is going digital. Although he spent just over $80 million on TV ads in the primary runoff. I think it was like technically like $83 million, which is just wild, absolutely wild. So take a listen to this Rick Jackson ad.
Democrat Keisha Lance Bottoms. She wants to build on her time as Atlanta mayor.
A short tenure, but one filled with challenges and pitfalls.
I eliminated cash bail bonds. We ended our relationship with ICE. That leads us to where we are today.
Clueless and out of touch.
The theatrics of appearing to be tough on crime.
I'm in favor of us reimagining policing.
This is not a plan that I just pulled out of the sky.
Salivating at the perks of power.
You're signing a stack of contracts like this worth hundreds of millions of dollars, so it can't be tempting, not be honest brokers. I don't think you should be a broke politician.
Fined for flagrant violations.
The State Ethics Commission has fined Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms $37,000 for violating campaign finance laws.
That the State Ethics Commissioner is investigating their campaign disclosures.
I'm not quite sure where you expect us to draw the line on that.
All the way to California.
Gavin Newsom, I love what he's doing. I think that he is brilliant.
We need people to understand this moment and are going to meet this moment head on, and that is you.
Mayor Bottoms, her decision to undermine economic growth is devastating.
Hosting drag queen story time. Endangering girls' sports.
Decisions regarding who competes and how people compete shouldn't be happening.
So you would have vetoed it?
Yes.
If she doesn't trust Georgians,
Got a lot of irresponsible gun owners.
how can Georgians trust her for governor?
Look at what I've done.
Atlanta did face a surge in violent crime, police walkouts, and national scrutiny.
When you were the mayor, how stressful was that time for you?
On a scale from 1 to 10, a 10. And look at what I plan to do.
I'll be called upon, it looks like, to do the same thing.
The danger isn't what might happen, it's what already has.
We really have to be very diligent and very intentional about making sure that we don't find ourselves in this position again.
Who is he targeting on that?
I think a few people. One, you know, there's rallying your base, right? So
Yeah,
folks who are already on his side, but he wants to make sure that they are firmly on his side and publicly, loudly on his
defining
side.
her like she defined him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we always talk about on the podcast, you define yourself, you define your opposition. The other, I think, are, and I see a lot of this discourse online and sometimes in private conversations where folks who were really upset with Keisha's term and the way that, you know, a number of things that happened, some of it outside of her control for sure. And so it is, I mean, he is essentially litigating her term as mayor, right, and bringing folks back to what happened at that time. A couple of thoughts when I watched it. One, as an aside, I was like, oh, I forgot she had short hair. Her short hairstyle was really cute, by the way. Total aside. But if I am the campaign, this 2-minute and 19-second ad gives me an opportunity to see very clearly where my attacks are coming from and how to rebut them.
Yeah.
Right? So when Rick Jackson talks about crime in Atlanta, she can point to, this wasn't an Atlanta issue, this was a national issue. Across the country, there was a crime challenge.
Yeah, and she could point to that she was trying to shut
Address
the city
it.
down.
She was trying to shut the city down, and the governor said no.
Exactly.
Right? The other thing she can point to is that under her watch, Atlanta police got big raises. Big raises. More than they did under, if I'm not mistaken, more than they did under Kasim Reed and more than they did under Shirley Franklin. Right? And so, again, if I'm her, I'm going to point to, here is how I have been on public safety. Yes, there was an issue. There was the Wendy's, there was Black Lives Matter, there were, the fallout from the pandemic. Those were things outside of my control. Here's what I did control, and here's what I did. The Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. Sure, there's lots of consternation about it, but that, again, happened under Keisha Lance Bottoms.
You know what I'm saying? She backed it, so that's her project.
And not related, but something where she can talk about how she has bolstered the economic engine that is Atlanta. The World Cup is happening right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Under her leadership, the Gulch $2 billion project was created.
Yep.
Look at what's happening at the Gulch now and what will continue to happen as it continues to be built out. She can directly point to the economic impact that she has had on the city.
Communication shopper.
I got a little skill.
Yeah, come on, hey, check in, Keisha. Check in, Keisha. You need some help.
So, I mean, I gave the Republicans some advice. Now I'm giving Keisha some advice.
She's fair. She's fair, guys.
That's right. But again, I think that she can easily rebut all of these. But also what's going to be important for her is to identify stakeholders who can do the rebuttals for her, right? It can't just be her. It needs to also be the Black business owner, the Metro Chamber type person, etc.
I agree. I think she needs to do that. One, get her surrogates that are out there, right? But also get some clear hits on him, because your hits on him can't continue to be indirect hits to Trump.
Right.
Although he has connected himself to Trump very heavily, it has to be
right.
It can't be Trump as the boogeyman.
And she's doing that a little bit around. He alluded to corruption. She has talked about how Rick Jackson received at least $1 billion in contracts from the state, which I believe were no bid.
There were no bids.
Right.
There were no bids.
So again, she can make that clear distinction, right? Comparing him to her, and then also comparing him to Trump,
right? Because
Trump has put out a number of very large no bid contracts that have also cost the government more than what he originally stated. So speaking of Rick Jackson, he is trying to. It's now the general, and he is doing what we often see happen in the general with respect to Republican candidates, and that is
the barbershop trick.
Court black men at the barbershop.
The barbershop trick.
Yeah, and this was organized, I think, in part by Shelley Winter, who we both know, Republican radio DJ, who endorsed. It was interesting. He endorsed John Ossoff.
Right.
Was with Burt Jones in the primary and primary runoff, and is now with Rick Jackson. So that's a bit of an interesting split ticket, with Shelley. But so Shelley and whoever else was part of this organized a listening session at a barbershop in College Park for Rick Jackson. And I was listening to Shelley talk about the how Rick was received. Right. And he says, Rick came in and he shook everyone's hand.
He talked to everybody.
He talked like he listened to everyone.
He didn't want to get started
right.
until he took everybody's hand.
Right.
And looked them in the eyes.
Right.
And that's when I knew. I was like, okay.
I know. I was like, well, first of all, having worked on a number of campaigns, that is what you were supposed to do, especially when it's an audience that you were trying to gain their trust.
It's not your audience.
That is exactly what you do.
Your girl was in there, the worst mayor in the country.
Oh, was she?
She was there.
Oh, that's funny. The woman who she ran
Yeah,
for,
she
or she's
ran.
actually on the ballot, right?
I think so. Yeah, as a
in
Republican.
Fulton County. Yes.
She was in
Yeah.
there.
I noticed Rick's press secretary, who actually came from Kemp's side, black guy. I noticed him in the audience as well. But can we have a conversation about, and we don't have to do it on this pod, but we do at some point need to have a conversation about why is the bar so doggone low particularly when a white candidate comes into a black space, and shaking hands and talking to them that's what does it for you.
Yeah. I got thoughts on that, but I almost want to do a focus group.
Yes.
Like, I would love to do a focus group.
On what in particular? On who in particular?
Different people, but like specifically black men. Like specifically black men, and talk about the psychology of why they do that.
Yeah.
Well, these anyway. And it's
Right.
not all black men. Let me just say
Sure.
that. I'm not in that narrative that black
Yeah.
men lost the campaign. No, we definitely be voting, but it do be some ignorant.
Although
folk out
this
there.
will be a game of inches, right? Like this election will be a game of inches, not yards.
I believe it. It's a video on this.
There was a video, but I didn't pull it.
You didn't pull it.
Well, it's actually a video. I think it was just Shelly talking.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
His thing. So we'll put it in the show link so y'all can see it.
Yeah, we can link to. We can link to it. So this is just the first one, right? If I'm Rick, I'm doing this across the state. Interesting to start in College Park and not in Atlanta. I thought that was of note. And again, this isn't the first time.
It was all on the owner. It was just the owner.
Yeah, it's not the first time.
Yeah.
When Trump ran in 24, we had the exact same thing happen. And so this is par for the course.
It's probably the same barbershop.
You know, I should have looked that up. Is it the same one?
I almost bet it's the same barbershop.
Oh, man. I'm literally about to search this real quick.
So
Trump barbershop, Atlanta.
Yeah, but I was seeing Shelly on there. But like I said, the bar be so low. Like, they ain't got to have no history of doing anything for anybody. And they come in and he shook my hand and he talked to me.
Yeah. This one was called Rocky's Barbershop. And it says it was in Atlanta. But this is also a national outlet that might not know.
I remember they were going in on him when he had Trump in it.
Yeah.
In his shop.
It's only 6.6 miles from here. That's in Buckhead. If it's the same one. Well, okay. There might be more than one Rockies, but.
Well, I'll say this. The race is on. I really want a lot of energy from these campaigns.
Oh, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want
This is the marquee race, right?
It
I mean,
is.
it should, you would think the marquee race would be the Senate race because that's technically the top of the ticket.
Right.
But this is the marquee race, right? Because the assumption is Ossoff will win because Mike Collins is a tainted candidate, right? If it had been Derek Dooley versus John Ossoff, I think that would have been a more contentious, interesting national race.
Right.
But the governor's race is
the
really
big
what's
one.
going to be the
That's
marquee
what we
one.
all watching.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, you ready for party starters and party poopers?
Party started, party pooper.
All right.
I thought Jefferson was going to surprise me with the transition today.
Oh,
Okay. Never mind.
we need some.
It's all good.
I'm trying to remember what our party
He said
starter
he
music
gonna-
was last time.
He said he's going to surprise me one of these weeks.
Okay,
so
all right.
waiting
I'm here
on
for it.
still.
I'm here for it.
Party.
Oh my God,
Pooper.
so goofy.
Who you got this week?
All right, my party starter is Wes Moore, who is the governor of Baltimore,
Nice.
Maryland. Sorry, the governor of Maryland.
You know Wes. You seen that commercial he did with the other governor?
No.
Him and his competing governor did a commercial together. I'm going to play it next week.
Okay. So the reason why, and yes, we know that Wes Moore is being looked at as a national talent in Democratic circles. Maybe he runs in, probably not, but maybe he runs in 2028 or, in the future, maybe he's on the short list for Veep or some other, title. But he did what is rare. And that is he sat down with a group of non-voters to talk about why they don't vote. For folks who may not be familiar with this thing, it's from Jubilee. I know that there's some, pros and cons to what Jubilee is doing, where they do one expert and then 20
It's the 1 on 20
commentators.
thing,
Yeah, 1 versus 20.
Is there a subject you could do that on? Like a subject you could stand on and say, 1 versus 20, let's go.
Yeah, I don't have to think about it. I don't know off the top of my head. One that I feel just that passionate about. I don't know. I had to think about it. But what the governor focused on was, your vote is more important than protest. And not to say that protest isn't important, but that was the gist of, what he was, standing on. Let's take a listen to a clip of this. I think it was like maybe more than an hour of this conversation with non-voters.
But the claim specifically says nothing shapes policy more. And I don't personally think that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 would have happened without the movement. And that's why I'm arguing that the movement is what really provoked that to even happen in the first place. Yeah. I guess my question is, how can we feel that candidates today are going to provoke this change and provoke the policies that we want without, kind of protesting, without giving them our vote in the first place?
Well, I think the protest is actually important, right? Because I think the protest is helping people to make sure they hear our voice. But then what also happens is what the protest then does, it leads us and allows us for a greater opportunity to make sure that our voice is heard with the elected officials. What was one of the goals of the civil rights movement, right? One of the biggest impacts of the civil rights movement was the Voting Rights Act. Right? The Voting Rights Act was the thing that actually gave people a fundamental and constitutional right to vote. That we could have all the protests in the world, but at the end of the day, you were telling me that I could not select who my elected officials are going to be. Yeah. And so one of the goals of the civil rights movement and one of the biggest takeaways from the civil rights movement is actually the Voting Rights Act. The Voting Rights Act would not have happened without protest, but the Voting Rights Act was the thing that gave people the right to vote to make sure we can get elected officials that actually represent our views.
And I'm not going to disagree that voting isn't an integral part of democracy and provoking this policy that we're looking for. Yeah. I'm arguing that it's not quite as effective as the movement itself. I think that the movement itself, coming from people who were not politically disengaged, but actually very aware of what was going on in America, I feel like the conception around non-voters is that they're apathetic and they're not kind of understanding what's going on in our political landscape, whereas I think it's actually quite the opposite. I know for me, I didn't vote because I was too engaged. I felt like I couldn't morally get behind either candidate, especially in 2024. So that's why I feel that voters now, it's more rational not to vote because of the candidates that were presented rather than...
I mean, listen, I think the frustration that you have is actually very much shared by me. And the truth is that when I told my family that I wanted to run for governor, I had to convince many members of my family to vote for me. You know what I mean? And it's not because we're not cool, we're cool. It's I had to convince them to vote because I think the frustration that you're talking about is real. But I would say if your voting rights were not important, why are they working so hard to take them away from you? If the voting rights, if your voting rights were not so important, why is the dismantling of the Voting Rights Act so egregious? The reason that they are trying to take it away is because it is powerful. The reason that they're trying to take it away is because they know that is your chance to be able to make sure that if people are not representing your views, we get them out. And that's why I think that the protest is important. But if you look at what the goal of the protest was, one of the biggest takeaways of the civil rights movement, it was actually voting rights.
Okay.
Good job. I would agree with Wes on this. I do believe as an organizer, activist, there's always a goal in mind. And we always want to create concrete change. Mm-hmm. That typically comes through legislation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is powered
Passing
by
laws.
Yeah, which is powered by voting.
Binding, legal change.
I understand the frustration of young organizing activists based off of what they've been getting from their current public servants. We just gotta be real and be honest. For a long time, people have been in office playing it cool, doing just enough to get by, but not really doing anything that
transformational.
Transformational. That's matching the passion of the streets.
Right.
So there has to be a matching of the passions. A passion that's happening in the street, passion that's happening in the suites of our legislative sessions. So I get what the young guy was trying to say, but ultimately a goal at the end is to create change.
Right.
And change is typically guided and forged by legislation.
By law.
Yeah,
yes.
by law. So it has to be the vote. The vote has to be important.
Right.
Or
it's not an either or, it's a yes and.
It's a yes and. Because if you don't care about the vote, then you're talking about something completely different. Now you're talking about a whole dismantle, which most people are not even about that life. That's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting, hour plus debate and conversation. And it's rare to see, again, an elected official, and particularly a governor, right? This wasn't some state rep, state senate, or even a member of Congress, right, of one of 435. This was a governor, one of 50, saying, I am going to take the time and actually listen to, and where I agree, say it. Right? Where you are wrong, steer the conversation and educate and inform. So I appreciate that he took the time to do it. And it's something that I think more Democrats need to do, and to actually just stand on your principles and actually talk about it. We've been talking about this. There's a theme here.
There's a theme, but you have to have
principle.
Yeah. And, I always say political philosophy. To stand on.
Yes.
If you have a political philosophy, it is almost a guiding compass, the North Star to your decisions of your policy.
Yes.
And a lot of people
don't have that.
They don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I'm in office.
Yeah.
I wanted to,
going with the wind.
Yeah, I wanted to be a politician.
Yeah. Okay, they're against this today. I guess I'll be against that.
Because you can say you have a political philosophy, and you can say I'm getting voted in because I want to be the voice of black men on this seat, and then you can get in there and start voting against black men in this seat.
Yeah,
we've seen that happen.
All right, so her party pooper, and this isn't. The 260 is just the entire notion of this. So the FBI has created, there was this internal FBI memo that directed field offices across the country to, quote unquote, surge 260 personnel for the purposes of investigating the 2020 election in Fulton County, Georgia. This has been investigated and litigated for years. 2020, we are now in 2026. So this memo, in the memo, the FBI director said that analysts can work overtime, including weekends and holidays. They have a hard deadline of July 17th to come up with, some result of whatever this might be. So just to refresh your memories, in January 2028 of this year, the FBI raided the Fulton County Elections Hub in Union City, so South Fulton, and they hauled off about 700 boxes worth of election material from the 2020 election, including ballots, ballot images, tabulator tapes, etc. And this was in response to a search warrant. Then, fast forward to April of 2026, the DOJ issued a grand jury subpoena. This is really remarkable. For the names, the home addresses, the emails, and the phone numbers of every single person who worked on the 2020 election in Fulton County. So if you drove the vehicle with the ballots in it, they had your information. If you were a poll worker, they have your information. If you were election staff, they have your information. This is the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Just to remind folks, Georgia counted the presidential race 3 times. It was administered under a Republican Secretary of State.
Yep.
There was a hand recount. The courts affirmed that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. In fact, in Georgia at the time, there was Republican U.S. Attorney B.J. Peck, who investigated fraud claims.
Yep.
Said there is no there. So the statute of limitations on the 2020 election have already passed, right? If there was any criminal activity, which either there wasn't criminal activity or there was nothing that is provable to actually be litigated.
Exactly.
So what is the point? If you can't charge anyone, why are 260 agents who could be working on any number of things being paid overtime, by the way? So I guess good for them. They're getting more money.
Time and a half. Ain't mad at that memo coming through.
Like, ching.
I'm dropping every case I'm doing.
But it's like, why are we not actually going after real criminals and real crime that actually hurts the American people? So it makes you wonder, what is the point of it all? And the timing of it, right? So July 17th, a hard deadline. What is the FBI planning to drop between July 17th and the November election?
Because something is coming. You don't haul off that many boxes. You don't put this much energy from the FBI.
Right.
Something is coming, especially in an election that's so important, with Georgia being a battleground state.
Exactly.
Georgia is an important, very, very, very important state.
Right.
So
yeah, and Trump already has very strong feelings about Georgia, obviously. And we know that he'll be backing Rick Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to wonder, A, what are they going to put out? What are the political ramifications of it? What, if anything, Democrats can do, either proactively or in reaction to what is done? To what extent do we see nonpartisan groups and even the business community push back on whatever the FBI puts out?
So, party pooper, well earned.
It's like, come on. Like, this is a frustrating one because, again, I could somewhat understand if this was all litigated under Democrats, right?
Oh, yeah,
if it were Stacey Abrams as the governor, okay, and a Democratic attorney general and a Democratic secretary of state, okay. This was a Republican slate.
This was all your people.
Your people. It's like, come on.
Well, Trump said it ain't my people because they didn't get me to vote. So.
Well, and I think that's the distinction also, that these were also not MAGA Republicans, right? Brad Raffensperger is not a MAGA Republican. Chris Carr is not a MAGA Republican.
Which is a difference. So that's what they saying. They're like, it ain't my people anyway. So.
Yeah, fair enough. No,
those are well deserved.
Yeah.
Those are well deserved.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all I got for you.
You had a lot, Saba.
That's a lot.
You had a lot.
That was meaty. I had a couple of other things, but I wanted to hold it for another episode.
Is there a link where we can show all the laws that were...
There's not a link to all 100, no. I mean, I can certainly link you to the legislative site, but you would have to know what to search, and it's not very user-friendly, but it's also an opportunity for someone to create something.
Exactly. So we'll put it on there, let them check it out. We want y'all to be informed about everything that's happening, all the new laws you might or might not be breaking. So check it out. But good episode, though.
Yeah, good. All right, next week we'll have a lot to talk about. Put your phone on, daggone.
It's my iPad, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
My bad, my phone on side.
See, I don't have my phone and my iPad connected. Separation of church and state.
No boundaries here.
Right. All right, y'all. As always, thank you for tuning in to another episode of your favorite political podcast, Where the Party At.
That's Saba. I'm Eldridge.
There you go.
We'll see y'all next week.